She about to go in.
It changed because there wasn't as much hormones in the food. If you live abroad for any length of time, your period will also become different over time and revert when you return.
American currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize?
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we are continuing the Americans Living Abroad series.
Yes.
We're super excited about this video, guys. But if you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit the red subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell, because we're on the road to 50K. And we cannot get there without you guys. Alright? Without further ado, let's get into the video.
I'm currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you?
Oh my gosh, such a great question. I have so many.
I like your energy.
The one that sticks out in my mind right now is the first time I celebrated the 4th of July, and the Kiwis were like, oh, happy 4th of July. And I'm like, yes, suckers. We broke away from the Queen a long time ago, and we have freedom, and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, hold on.
Uh-oh.
What freedoms don't we have? And why is it bad that other countries work together to protect each other and help each other? And America's always talking about freedom, and what freedoms do you have that we don't have? And I was like, hold up. All this rhetoric that I was told my whole life, the land of the free, we need to fight for our freedom, and it's such a value in the American society. And when you think about how many countries are just as free, where does this freedom value come from? I mean, it came back from the Revolutionary War, but hello, there's a lot of countries that are free. It was eye-opening.
American currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
She done broke the internet, huh?
Did y'all know that in other countries, they can go to the pharmacy and actually get what they need? I live in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia right now, and I went to the pharmacist and I was like, hi, I think I gotta have like a UTI. Like, do you have any pain medicine, any cranberry? And she's like, why don't I just give you antibiotic? Then I go back and I'm like, hi, I'm going to South Africa next week, like on safari, like any good, mosquito repellent? And she's like, girl, you want anti-malarials? And then I get bold with it, right? I go in there, on another occasion, and I'm like, I'm back, I'm waiting for my birth control, like, to come from the U.S. Like, it's taken a while, prescriptions and doctors and all that. And she literally threw the birth control at me.
An American currently
It's her going back and probably feeling uncomfortable. Like, she keep giving this up to me for free.
Is it still going to be free?
Just one. If this tells you anything, I was only supposed to be abroad for a year.
Okay.
I'm on year 10.
Ooh.
Yeah. Essentially, what I learned was me traveling and working around the world was easier and cheaper than me just living in the U.S.
Ooh.
So why would I go back?
Girl, we had that conversation.
And spend more when I can travel and live in other countries and spend less?
Make it
make sense.
Come with it, bro. You know what it was.
Oh my God.
So I spent about 4 years in Berlin, Germany, working in advertising, and coming from New York, where my first 8 years in the industry, I just, you don't take vacation. You just don't really do that. Well, I had to have a sit down with the CEO of my company and the head of HR, where they took my laptop and took my work phone and told me I could not come back to the office for 3 weeks because I had to use my vacation time. They were afraid that I was going to sue the company for not being allowed to take my vacation time. So they made sure that I literally could not work. Imagine that happening in the U.S.
Come with it, man.
Literally take your
order
computer
that,
and your work
please.
phone away and say, go. Come back in 3 weeks. Enjoy your vacation. Honestly, Europe has a lot going for it that I wish Americans would understand.
Man.
One time that made you realize that America really messed you up.
I was working as a teacher in South Korea, and a lot of students actually have these little box cutters to cut stuff. I was kind of concerned that these were allowed in school because I was scared that people were going to stab each other.
Oh,
what is one time
period.
Yes, you can't bring that to school.
Hey, girl, you...
So just for a little context, I live in Latvia now, but when this
Definitely
happened to me, I
Latvia.
was working in the UK as a bartender. And my coworkers and I were talking about gun violence in the US, and they were kind of making jokes like, oh, I'm surprised you graduated and you didn't get shot first, and stuff like that. And I guess I was trying to defend it, so I was saying, it's not as bad as the news makes it seem. I only know one school that had an active shooter and had to go into lockdown, and for me, I only had one gun threat in high school, and it was just a threat, and one when I was in elementary school. And then my coworkers kind of looked at me like, you what? And you think that's normal? And I was like,
oh my god,
yeah,
not funny.
It's not even that bad.
For an American currently living abroad.
I'm sorry,
one
quickly though.
time
I want to
that
say this quickly. It's just even the attempt of saying what we go through makes them probably fearful to come out here and
Right.
experience America.
Right.
Like, real talk.
Going on
you
vacation
realize
and get
that
shot.
America
Right.
really messed
I'm a U.S. citizen currently living in Costa Rica. We have to
Ooh.
be careful about the use of the word American since the American continents. Anyway, I have so many examples of how the U.S. fucked me up, specifically Florida. We got to Costa Rica the second week in November, obviously still deep in the throes in the U.S. with COVID. And coming from Florida where there's so many anti-maskers and COVID deniers, it was surreal to go to these establishments here where everyone's following the Ministry of Health's rules. There's hand washing stations outside of every establishment. There are people taking your temperature to go into grocery stores and certain restaurants. People are giving you distance. Everyone is compliant with masks. And I found myself so defensively postured, ready to argue because I had gotten into so many arguments in Florida with
That was just Florida,
anti-maskers and
though.
COVID deniers.
'Cause,
It's
it
amazing
wasn't
when
like
people
this,
don't politicize
like
a
that.
virus.
American currently living
It wasn't
abroad.
just
What is
Florida.
one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
2008 or 9, 20 years old, Munich, Germany. City passes the vibe check, no doubt, but I didn't have anyone with me. And I'm trying to get cigarettes from a machine, my ID doesn't work. Cop shouts from across the street, he's on his way to me. Hey, you, sir, is there anything I can help you with? And
Help.
immediately I was, no, I'm sorry, don't worry about it, I'm
Help.
getting out of here anyway. And I keep it moving, and he's like, no, hey, you. And I keep it pushing, like, hey, you? Nah, get the fuck out of here. And the next cop stops me, and I immediately drop everything that's in my hands as I take my hands out of my pockets, so I don't get shot. And so he ends up buying me a pack of cigarettes, bringing me to the nearest bar, explaining to me that they go to 4 years of college to do this, get paid $50,000 a year more than our cops, and bought me a drink.
But we say that though. We like, I feel most of our officers need some more schooling.
When I lived in Paris,
Hold on,
my
hold
peer
on, hold on. Not only do they need more schooling, I feel like they got to go through like psych
Yes,
evaluations.
definitely.
And
I think
he
that's-
said that they got paid $50,000.
$50,000
More?
more than our
That's six
officers.
figures.
That's 6 figures a month. You're living their life.
And he took him to the bar and bought him some cigarettes.
Probably a drink too.
I bet he has good mental health. Like, he's happy to go to work. He's
Right.
like, oh, come on, I gotta ride the bike shift. And just picking with people because,
The stress level is there at the job, and in their
Exactly.
income.
right, they're living good. They're
Right.
happy to go to work. They're happy to, do their job. But here we're dealing with stressful, cops. Some cops may not even be able to make ends meet.
I mean, it's just all around stress that comes with it though, because we are in a system that is built on this level. Like for instance, let's say if you live in a low income housing situation, the jobs around there is only benefiting that. It's not going to benefit you to get out.
Right.
So I gotta move. I gotta travel. I gotta do all this. Even with schooling, if you're in a school where the education level is at a certain level, you can only get a certain college level expected to you.
Right.
So it's like set up that way, but out there it's like, yo, you're built for success.
Yeah, basically that's what it is.
Wow. She's about to go in.
It changed because there wasn't as much hormones in the food. If you live abroad for any length of time, your period will also become different over time and revert when you return.
American currently
Say
living
that,
abroad.
though.
What is one time
Say
that
that,
made you
though.
realize that America really messed you up?
So for me, it was a few different times all while I was living in Australia. one time with the various shootings that we have here in the States, my boss came to me and he was like, "Are you okay? How are you feeling? Do you need some time off?" And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because I heard about the shooting that happened back in the States." I had to sit there and have an honest moment with myself and him to realize that I had built up a numbness to all the shootings that they had all the time. So that's
very numb.
Number 2. I have horrific cramps. I always have. They make me pass out. I throw up. I've been in the emergency room I don't know how many times at this point. It's just how it's been. I fought against it, but I finally had my roommate take me to the emergency room, and my total was $100 when I left. As someone who was only on a working holiday visa
for full evaluation,
a $2,000 bill like it would have been in the States.
And currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
I first started school and asked them when we have our first training for school shootings, and they asked me, "What is that?" I walked into a supermarket and I was confused as to why there weren't any guns on the shelves. When I went on a walk with my friends and they wanted to walk over someone's farm because it was a shortcut, and I said I didn't want to go because I was afraid of getting shot, and they looked at me like I was crazy.
Another person.
When I saw police cars driving up and I realized that nobody besides me was scared shitless. When I watch political talk shows and they're actually having a conversation and discussing an actual topic instead of talking over each other and insulting each other. When I noticed that over here nudity and sexual expression was seen as natural and normal while violence is talked down upon, when in the States violence is everywhere and nudity and sexuality are taboo.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
Oh man, I got so many stories. As you may know, I'm an American living in Italy, and there have been so many times I'm thinking, oh my god, America is so messed up. Most recently is when I gave birth to my daughter. So I decided to give birth to my daughter here in Italy, and basically before you give birth, they recommend that you meet up with an anesthesiologist. Even if you don't want the epidural beforehand, they recommend you do so just in case, like an emergency, you really want one, or etc. So I didn't even end up getting the epidural, but I had to pay for the meeting, and I'm thinking, oh no, how much is this meeting gonna cost? It was 30 euros. 30 euros is the equivalent of maybe, let's say, like $40.
Yeah.
And also, too, I stayed in the hospital for 3 days, got completely taken care of, and I didn't pay a cent. A cent.
American
you can even go with fashion. Like people travel just to go get the same quality outfit for a lower price.
Right now. And one time I was going to help my friend with this project that she had, and this girl was still in high school. And so she was like, "Yeah, just come to my high school. You can help me out, yada, yada, yada." I was like, "Great. Where do I have to sign in when I get there? Do I need to wear a visitor's badge? Who do I talk to? What should I tell the front desk lady?" She was like, "What? Just walk in and I'll meet you at my classroom." And my mind was blown. I was like, "I can just walk into your school?" Like, no. Aren't they gonna call the police? Aren't they gonna send out an intruder alert? Like, I can't just walk into your high school and just walk straight to your classroom. No. Then I realized just how messed up it is that American high schoolers are like security prisons.
Hold on, wait a minute. I don't know. Now that's something that I do agree with, because you just never know. Like, you never know. No. That's something that I would need, even if we were living abroad.
Yeah.
We have little babies. I would need some documentation of who was in the class, just in case something happened. Nah, not even just with the shooting situation, just with you don't know who's around your kid.
Yeah, and it's not for safety reasons, since they obviously don't have to deal with safety hazards. It can be for security reasons.
Yeah, like there's rapists everywhere.
Right.
There's kidnappers everywhere.
Right.
Sex trafficking everywhere. So nah,
like
I agree with that part.
Walked into school, girl walked out the class and they just dipped.
Nah, we ain't doing that. Nah.
Make it make sense.
One time that made you realize that America really messed you up.
So I live in Romania, and I feel like the most astonishing thing to me when I moved here was how easy it is to find someone to go out with, to go out and have drinks with, to go out and have dinner with. Any given day, somebody wants to go out.
Okay.
Whereas in the U.S., I feel like we're all so stressed out and miserable that we just want to stay home.
Don't want to be around people.
I feel like that's a good topic because living abroad, you feel me, like everyone's talking about the health, you know what I'm saying, the gun violence, even the cops, you know what I'm saying, but if you really want to get into it, and I like that she did that, and another gentleman said it as well, but let's talk about the real personalities that we're dealing with, how people are angry, you know what I'm saying, they don't like to be around each other, and she just said that people just want to be in the house, take care of what they got going on, call it a day, while in other countries, they want to walk around, they want to experience the air, they want to bump shoulders with somebody and see how they doing today. I know the personalities is probably mad different.
We're not all stressed. We all got free health care. We all got free education. Free college? What?
Right. You don't got to
free
worry about...
education. Like, we all have access to the same things.
Yeah, you ain't got to worry about if mama taking care of her grandma getting her meds. Like, it's free.
Yeah, no
you
jealousy.
Right.
Well, I'm sure they have jealousy for other things, but no jealousy, you
but
know?
I'm just saying, like, the stress level is probably taken down a lot. A whole lot.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So, I live in Estonia now, and I remember the first year that I moved here, it was around the beginning of December, and I remember hearing, like, gunshots, like, really loud gunshots, like, and a lot of them.
Ooh.
So, me, being from Brooklyn, I immediately think that there's some crazy shootout going on outside.
Yeah.
So I go and I look out the window, and sure enough, it's fireworks. Fireworks are kind of, sort of illegal in New York City, so I was used to just automatically assuming that it was gunshots.
Yeah, that's
kind of when I realized that
it's triggering. Yeah.
America's kind of messed up.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So when I was a teenager, I went out of the country one time to go on vacation to the Bahamas, and we were staying at this resort, and shit happened. I caught a virus that was going around the resort, and then I had an allergic reaction to the virus, and I couldn't really breathe. But the on-site paramedic had already left for the day, so the hotel concierge took us to the hospital in his van and just told us to call when we were ready to head back. So we go to the hospital, I get treated, and as we're leaving, my mom tries to give them her insurance card, and she's telling them, like, I'm so sorry, we've never been out of the country before, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
They told her, like, oh no, you just keep that, we don't take insurance here. And the look on my mom's face was terrified, like, oh my god, we're gonna have to sell our house, terrified. This was when they realized we were Americans, and they were like, oh no, don't panic, you must be American, we have universal health care here, you just need to pick up your medicine in the lobby, you're fine. The medicine was $8, and they gave me a note to give to the airline to get back into my own country.
What's a celebrity impression that you can do? I'll go first.
Wow.
What are the odds that people are dealing with the opposite of what we call freedom?
Right.
Well,
we need to go travel.
Yeah, we need to do some little travel.
Yeah, let's see where we're gonna live. Basically. But one of the things I do want to touch on is the cost of living. The lady said that it's cheaper for her to travel different countries than to live here.
Yeah.
Y'all, like, a lot of people are one paycheck away from homelessness.
Yeah.
Like, that's not exaggeration. That's serious.
Especially dealing with what's going on now with the housing.
Yes, like
that's
the
crazy.
inflation rates are just through the roof.
I don't know anybody. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I don't know if anybody else notices it. But the groceries went up.
Everything went up.
Everything
Gas,
going up.
Everything. So the people are one paycheck away from evictions. They get the eviction. Now they can't get into the type of housing that they want.
Right.
And if they want to continue the type of housing, you know, like the more luxury type of housing, they'll have to put a bigger deposit down, all of this extra stuff, and it just makes their life harder and harder.
I'm waiting for someone to talk about credit.
Oh,
I want to know what it's like with the credit.
I want to know.
I need to know, man.
I want to know what it's like to buy a house there. I want to know what it's like to buy a car. I want to know.
They giving some gems, but I need to know what's happening. Like, for
should
real.
we be expats and just travel and?
Would you guys want to see that? Because we'll do it in a heartbeat.
Give up everything.
500 likes for this video. With
Stop it! Do not do that. Don't. Okay. So, like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you'd like to support the channel that way. No pressure. It just helps us to create more quality content.
Thanks.
We'll see y'all soon.
Peace.